Hello, Biakindi. With respect, I'm here from the land of Santa Clara Pueblo in northern New Mexico. We are a Pueblo tribe here on our ancestral lands. We're one of the few tribes that were not relocated when European contact came in. So we were very lucky to remain on our homelands. And so many of our traditions and language and cultural ways of life have continued. So we're lucky for that. And we have very, very little rainfall. So the plants that have adapted to our climate here are very, very particular plants because they've had to understand this landscape. And as Pueblo people, we have a very strong connection to the plants that have evolved with us here. And we consider them our brothers and sisters and even our mothers and fathers. And one of the very first plants that we consider we come from is the corn mothers. And because our corn grandmothers took care of us since the beginning of time in our myths, we hold her very, very dearly. And to this day, we still grow out these original corn strands of our people, and they're used for very particular ceremonial and purposes in our culture because of their story with us, our connection to them. As a child, it was really a big part of my childhood when I first was part of growing a field of corn. When I first was able to plant seed and watch it grow, and I was planting it with my grandfather. Actually, he was a farmer, and watching the corn mature and the way the water ran through the irrigation ditches to the corn, watching the corn grow up, and then actually getting to pick ears of corn and open them up and seeing what was inside. It was better than Christmas. Getting, an ear of corn, a pile of corn, and getting to open them up, and the different colors and each kernel being unique and beautiful was so exciting that I fell in love. It was an obvious connection of like, I want to do this. I want to continue this. And interestingly enough, when I became a young adult, I became very interested in saving seeds of our ancestors. And of course, corn was one of the seeds I was wanting to preserve for our people. And one of the teachings that Corn Mother gives us is how to live together as living beings all together. And because of the way the kernels are put together and grow together, she teaches us how to live in community, to be good to each other, to give each other the space and allow each other to be in harmony with each other. And just like every ear has differences, each community, each web of life is unique and different too. Some of the kernels, they don't go in straight lines. They're like many different patterns that happen, just like in nature, but they still grow together in a way that makes them one being. So that as we look at her, she teaches us how to be together in a good way. And so because blue and white corn were the first grandmothers that took care of us, we start our life first thing in the morning with thanking them. And we first grind our corn, our white corn mother, and she is our prayer corn. So she's used a lot for giving thanks and blessings. So she's grounded into a meal, and for the morning, we go outside and we greet the sun and we say thank you to the day and all that is, because we are here because we were loved by the corn mothers and all the other plants that came after her to like take care of us and keep us going. And so she is the corn that we remember first to be grateful and to be thankful. And the blue corn mother, we grind her up next and we make her into our ceremonial bread. That's very, very special for us. And so she gives us our first food, the food that we are nourished from then on. And I actually was given a little bag of white corn seed that my great grandmother had saved. And so I was handed that corn, and piece by piece I was I found among, the community here, remnants of these different corns, different squashes, different beans, different herbs. And I began to grow a seed bank that I still continue to nurture to keep these plants going. And I would have to say that the corn is my favorite of all of them to keep going. I have probably about 20 varieties of corn that I keep growing out at different fields every year. And they, I feel like they keep me going as I keep them going. It's a mutual thing because sometimes in the spring, right now it's springtime here, and I've been walking through the seed bank and going, okay, who needs to go out in the sun? Who needs to stretch their legs and reach down in the earth and suck up the water and nutrients and make new babies, so we can fill up the pots in the seed bank and keep them going? Who's really needing that right now? And you just kind of sit with them, the jars of seeds, and invariably it always happens where one goes, me, I need to go out now. I need to be planted now. When I participate in some of the dances, when I was a young girl, there was there's some dances we are called harvest dances, and we dance with the corn actually in our hands, and we're dancing with them and for them, and we're imbuing them with the songs and the heartbeat of the rhythm of the dances into the corn themselves. And at the end of the dances, they're given to people that are there to watch. And as you breathe in and you breathe out, as we're taking in the life force around us and imbuing them into the corn that we're holding, then that breath, that blessing, then can go out into the community, in the people that go and take the corn, breathing that blessing within them, and they're blessed with more life for that year. And those corns that were danced with can be kept, as just something that's radiating that blessing for them through the year. And some of that corn can be ground up for their prayers. Some of it can be ground up for food that you actually take in that blessings to help your body be stronger. But it's just knowing very clearly that that these are our corn mothers that still love us and still want to take care of us. And the reciprocity is in taking care of them back, in keeping them going, keeping them alive by planting them each year and taking good care of them. Because it is prayer and it is about life. It's about saying, please let us all live well. Let us have a good life. Let us take care of each other. Let us be good to each other. Let us not be greedy. Let us know that each of us has something to give. Each of us is a kernel on that cob of corn, and we matter. We matter, and we are prayer. And so let us act as if we are prayer. I was remembering sitting cleaning corn one day with one of the elder women in the tribe, and we had a pile of corn, and we were chucking it. We were taking it off the cob and putting it into these big baskets, and you're sitting there telling stories and talking about kids and life the way women do when they gather. And one of the younger girls came in and sat down to help, and we were all chucking, and the little kernels fly this way and that way sometimes because you're going fast and it's chucking like this. And the older woman, she started to crawl around on the floor, picking up these little kernels that had flown off that way and this way and that way. And yet younger girl says, why don't we just like sweep it up, or like, don't we have enough in the basket? Why are you going off to get all those ones? And the older woman, she turned around and she says, if you were out there, wouldn't you want someone to come find you? And she says, these ones are crying because they're out here all alone. And so she was out there, and I remember listening to the way she spoke about those kernels out there that had popped across the room, and her crawling over to pick them up so carefully. And she would talk to them, putting them in her hand and saying, I got you, don't worry. I got you, don't worry. And she brought them back and she put them in the basket with the rest. And she says, they're happy now. They're back with their family. A seed is really small and it's big. It's a big thing. And, you get down on the ground and you feel so alone and so nothing. But you and that seed and the ground are right there. And in your act of planting it or nurturing that plant or just sitting with the plants, it's a place that we can come back alive. We can start to build ourselves up again from nothing. It's like a plant does. It starts so small and it starts to stretch out its little body and reach down in that earth and look up at that sun and soak in that light and soak in that moisture, and things start happening little at a time. And it's an incredible way to heal ourselves through watching plants and being connected to them. It's no wonder that the elders used corn to explain how we treat each other, because of the way it grows, the way it nurtures, the way it takes and gives back, and the way it's uniquely beautiful. It's saying, you are like this. Enjoy the differences and be together in a very good way, and love each other, take care of each other. It's so very important. Like when we harvest that corn, it's a party because we're all sitting there unwrapping them, and we can't help but go, look at this one, because we're so excited over what what came out and how beautiful each kernel, each ear is, and unique. And some of them, you know, they're spotty, they're all over, and we'll go, oh, poor thing, it didn't get enough of this and that. But you don't throw it out. You go, these kernels on this one know something the others don't, so they're valuable because they have special information that the other ears don't. So you don't just pick the best looking ones, you pick the ones, all the different traits, because you know all the diverse things about that will make a more amazing corn in the future. It will make a better world because they have different information. They're all uniquely beautiful. And how boring it would be if everything was the same. So next year when that corn gets grown out, or the following year, then there'll be new surprises. And you know, that's where all the varieties of corn have come from, is because people had sat down with a corn and opened it up and went, oh, look at that kernel. And they took that kernel and they saved that and they grew that out, and it became its own being, stronger in the world and beautiful. And so, you know, it's about a relationship with this plant being that is really a love story. It's a love story between these two beings,